You know that feeling when your to-do list looks more like a horror novel, or when you finish a long day of getting things done, only to realize you did absolutely nothing that mattered. Welcome to the modern productivity crisis, where everyone's exhausted, no one's satisfied, and every app on your phone is trying to sell you inner peace in 5 minutes or less. Enter Slow Productivity by Newport, a man who sounds like he was born with a leather-bound planner in one hand and a fountain pen in the other. Newport, a computer science professor who moonlights as a philosopher for the burnt-out masses, has made a name for himself by calling out the insanity of our hyper-connected world. You may know him from Deep Work or Digital Minimalism, both best-selling field guides for tired brains gasping for air. But with Slow Productivity, Newport takes a sharp, elegant step further. He's not just saying, do less. He's arguing for an entirely new way of working, one where slowness isn't laziness, where meaning matters more than motion, and where we stop treating productivity like a high-speed treadmill and more like, well, gardening. Yep, think soil, roots, seasons, the long game. So let's put away the multitasking shame and the dopamine-chasing checklists. This isn't another life hack. It's a quiet rebellion in disguise. Part 1, the Great Productivity Panic, and why we're all secretly terrified. Let's start with a little honesty. Most of us feel like we're never doing enough. Even when we're working hard, there's a sense that we're behind, inadequate, or missing some mysterious magic that those other people seem to have. You know, the ones who rise at 4 a.m., run marathons before breakfast, and write novels on their lunch break. Newport says this chronic dissatisfaction is baked into how we define productivity itself. Our culture idolizes the visible, the measurable, the immediate. If you're not producing constant output, people assume you're slacking, even if the best, deepest work happens far below the surface, over long periods, in silence and solitude. The Industrial Revolution may have given us light bulbs and locomotives, but it also gave us factory-style thinking. Clock in, crank out, repeat. Unfortunately, our brains aren't factories. Creative and cognitive work doesn't come in neat hourly batches. And yet, that's how most jobs still operate. We've just replaced the conveyor belts with Slack notifications and back-to-back Zoom calls. Newport calls this the hyperactive hive mind. It's a way of working where everything is urgent, everyone's interrupting everyone else, and deep focus becomes a mythical unicorn we keep chasing but never catch. The result? Stress, burnout, and the sneaking suspicion that we're just spinning our wheels. Part 2, the art of doing fewer things better. Now, before you grab your resignation letter and head for a cabin in the woods, Newport offers a more grounded solution: slow productivity. At first glance, it sounds like an oxymoron. Productivity, but slower? Isn't that like aggressive napping? But Newport isn't advocating for laziness or loafing. Quite the opposite. He's arguing that real productivity, meaningful, sustainable productivity, requires doing fewer things with more intention and at a humane pace. Let's be honest, we all try to juggle too much. Multiple projects, endless emails, side hustles, freelance gigs, yoga classes we forget to attend. It's a buffet of obligation. But Newport says the real masters of meaningful work have something in common. They focus on fewer priorities, and they go deep. He gives examples from history: writers, artists, scientists, scholars. They didn't produce 50 things a year. They focused on one big idea at a time. They took their time. They walked. They stared out windows. They let ideas simmer. They even got bored. Slow productivity isn't about being idle, it's about being selective. If you try to do everything, you'll do nothing well. But if you choose wisely, go deep, and protect your time like a mama bear, you'll actually get the stuff done that matters. And more importantly, you won't hate your life in the process. Part 3. Working at a natural human pace. Spoiler, you're not a robot. Ever tried writing a report at 3 p.m. after 5 meetings and 2 cold cups of coffee? Yeah, same. We all know that cognitive work isn't evenly distributed throughout the day. Some moments we're on fire. Others we're mentally chewing cardboard. Newport says that's perfectly natural. Our brains have rhythms. But modern work culture expects peak performance all day, every day, like some kind of caffeinated productivity cyborg. It's nonsense. Even Newton probably took naps. Einstein definitely wore the same outfit every day. And Virginia Woolf, she walked. A lot. Slow productivity invites us to embrace our natural cognitive cycles. That means giving ourselves permission to rest, reflect, and recover. And get ready for the radical part. It means not measuring our worth by how much we produce on any given Tuesday. This section of the book is less about hacks and more about compassion. Newport isn't wagging his finger. He's reminding us that quality work takes time. It can't be forced or faked. And if you want to do something great, you need to give your brain the time and space it needs to think deeply. Which, by the way, usually happens when you're not staring at your inbox. Part 4. Embracing seasonality and patience, even if you're impatient. Here's a plot twist. Not all productivity looks like output. Sometimes, being productive means pausing, recharging, or planting seeds that won't bloom for years. Newport leans heavily into the idea of seasons. Just like nature has cycles, so do we. There are seasons for creating, seasons for planning, seasons for learning, and yes, seasons for doing absolutely nothing but refilling the well. This might sound suspiciously poetic, but it's backed by real-world examples. Creative geniuses often spend months in apparent idleness, only to suddenly burst with innovation. That's not procrastination. That's incubation. Newport also reminds us that breakthroughs don't usually arrive on command. They sneak in sideways, often when we're walking the dog or washing dishes. By allowing for long timelines and patient effort, we open ourselves to deeper creativity. In other words, stop measuring success in weekly metrics. Some things need years to take root. So maybe, just maybe, your 5-year plan doesn't need to be crammed into 5 days. What a concept! Part 5. Saying no like a monk with a calendar. If slow productivity had a superpower, it would be this: the ability to say no without guilt. Because let's face it, one of the reasons we're all so fried is because we keep saying yes. To extra work, to meetings that should have been emails, to social obligations that make us question our entire personality. Newport encourages a kind of monastic clarity. Not actual monks, though hey, if the robe fits, but rather a mindset where your time is sacred. You protect your priorities like they're priceless artifacts. You say no not to be rude, but to stay true. He also emphasizes the importance of invisible work, the stuff that doesn't show up on performance reviews but is essential: reading, reflecting, journaling, experimenting. Slow productivity creates space for this quiet work that fuels real breakthroughs. The trick? You need to guard your schedule like it's the final level of a video game. You can't do everything, so you do what matters, and let the rest fall away like confetti at a party you didn't attend. Final thoughts: slower, smarter, saner. By the time you close slow productivity, you might feel a bit lighter. Not because the book has solved all your problems, sorry, it's not magic, but because it gives you permission to stop sprinting. Cal Newport doesn't offer hacks. He offers wisdom. He reminds us that deep, meaningful work isn't a sprint. It's a slow walk through foggy woods. You won't always see the destination. You'll trip, rest, wonder if you're lost. But eventually, something clear will emerge. A breakthrough, a sentence, a solution, a breath. In a world that worships hustle, Newport gives us a gift: the freedom to be human, to work well, to think deeply, to live a little more like the old philosophers, slower, wiser, with fewer browser tabs open. So next time someone asks how productive you've been, you can smile gently and say, "I'm working on something meaningful." Slowly. And maybe, just maybe, that'll be enough. Now close the browser. Go for a walk. Think slow. You've earned it.